Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming. It's leaving me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Devil's Gambit. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. As always, Arwell greets me as soon as I climb down the stairs, but there's a hint of worry in his smile today. Kind of forgetting what kind of voice I did for Arwell. Alright, let's see. Good morning, friend. Is something ailing you? Is it that obvious? Trying to avoid his gaze, I look toward the tables and find only two wolves still eating their breakfast. Pretty empty today. Everybody got up early and headed to the Baron to see the explorers off, but me? I'm not leaving until every patron's needs have been taken care of. No, sir. Speaking of which, what's wrong? Can I lend you a hand? Or an ear? Or a horn? Thank you, but I just want food now. Sure thing. Since we are the only ones in the tavern by the time I finish breakfast, Arwell figures it's fine to walk with me to the Baron. Near the stables, wolves and much fewer lions clad in leather armor are fastening loads to the backs of the beasts with the help of some farmers. The Duke's guards stand in a formation around them, blocking the other townsfolk from getting too close. We stand among the worried friends, puzzled children, and frustrated women watching the scene. Arwell? I whisper, as is the dragon. Yes? How do I say this? I thought it'd be a bigger caravan than this. Didn't the Duke want to build a settlement? Oh, yes. The valley proved to be so problematic that His Grace made a tactical decision to postpone that. These men will survey the deeper parts of the valley and recover any relics they come across. Most of my patients in the hospital are scouts that had a run-in with the valley's treacherous terrain or the monsters within. I guess the Duke's still looking for a spot for the settlement, but has had no luck. It's insane that this has been happening for a year. The wolves are allowed a moment to say goodbye to their families and friends before the guards announce their departing. The forest is tall as they walk into it, no doubt invaded by the same encroaching sensation I had felt last night. No, it must be so much worse. Walking into the devil's den, unsure of how long they'll last before they wake up in a hospital bed, assuming they get help at all. That the Eye Valley doesn't swallow them up. It's a miracle no one's died yet. Good morning, you two. A small scream escapes me. My ears burn as lion and wolf alike shoot me startled glances. Demons, if you still exist, there's no better moment to kidnap me than now. What's wrong? He's been off since he woke up. It's just because I overslept and I'm running late for work. I have to go now. See you later. See you later. A stupid lie, Hector. If you're running late for work, how come you can afford to stop to watch the explorers depart? But Cadgan doesn't press me and I avoid what would have been our most awkward conversation yet. But I don't have any such excuse during dinner. I had hoped to hold a decent conversation by then, especially because I had no issue focusing while on the clock. My thoughts get thrown back into disarray the moment I see the wolf. Cadgan knows something is up. He has to. So, trouble today? What? At the hospital. Oh, he's talking about the expedition. Just the usual. I figured you had a rough day at work, though you were jumpy this morning, too. I just didn't sleep too well. We eat a few spoonfuls of stew until Cadgan rescues us from the silence. Hector, do you remember the leaf-burning festival? It sounds familiar, but where did I hear it first? Not during the stay, that's for sure. I tried to organize my thoughts and search further back. I asked Cadgan about it once, but before that the wolf coachman, who still had bone and flesh where now a peg leg is, mentioned it when we visited during late spring. Now comes the hard part, stringing sentences together. Don't overthink, Hector. Just say something. Anything. Right. I never participated with us staying at the mansion. He already knows that, you idiot. It'll be summer soon. You should come. I really should, now that I have the chance. It seems not even the Duke's tyranny can stop the wolves from celebrating their traditions. What does it entail? We go around town, the forest and the fields, gathering haze leaves. We hold a carnival before putting them in a heap and burning them. And we dance and eat. That sounds fun. We do something similar back home, except for the burning part. Is hazeleaf native to Renai? What does it look like? The wolf takes a sip from his beer. They are these plants with purple midribs. Ah, then I've seen some. They smell funny. The words don't come out after that. Every question I have about the hazeleaf sounds stupid. I'm afraid to bore him if I continue talking about Oblon's traditions, and I draw a blank when coming up with a new topic. In the end, we eat in silence, except for when Cadgan makes small talk here and there. The walk to home is the same. At least there's no demon's touch on the way back. They were busy, far too busy to stalk a foolish badger peering into the forest. I know because the next day I enter the hospital and am received by an unmanned reception and pandemonium resonating from the main ward. As I rush in, I remember the lions and wolves marching into the forest. If memory serves me right, there were 36 men in that caravan. I remember their faces, recognize them lying on the main ward's beds in different states of hurt. Some are strapped down with a lost look in their eyes. Around a third of them are here now. Not wasting time, I joined the others in treating those still in need of urgent care. I abstained from visiting my usual patients today to help at the hospital. The head doctor orders it, though I would have done so regardless. Cadgan arrives at some point and interviews the few men in condition to talk. It's past noon by the time I'm allowed to leave the hospital to take some fresh air. The wolf comes out not long after. Hector? Cadgan? Any findings? One of them brought back his logbook. I've been reading it, and I'm heading to the valley to investigate now. I guess I'll see you later then. Good luck with the demon hunt. Are you done with work for today? Why don't you come too? What, to the valley? The expedition is still ongoing, and most of the men are out there in the valley. It'd be good for a doctor to be there in case more trouble rears its head. Besides, I'm only going as far as the camp at the border of the valley. What do you say? What would I enter the Eye Valley for? To risk getting chewed alive by it as well? It's all danger and nothing to gain. Cadgan has a job to do and knows it's dangerous as well, so for him it makes sense. But I'm the complete opposite. Surely there's somebody with more experience that can accompany him instead of me. Whether I turn to instinct or reason, the answer is to stay away. That'd be crazy to go. Later, when we're merrily walking into the forest together, I conclude that the only scientific explanation for my choice is that I've lost my damn marbles. Cadgan talks about his morning on the way to the valley, that an explorer reached the new shrine, the one in the forest, asking for help, that a rescue party, apparently prepared beforehand, was sent out. One of the Duke's guards showed up at Cadgan's door, knocked until it woke him up, and relayed this. Unfortunately, the rescue party had taken the explorer to guide them to the camp, so the wolf spent most of the morning waiting for their return. Once they came back, Cadgan talked to that explorer and then headed to the hospital, and I know the rest. The terrain becomes rougher and closer the closer we draw to the Eye Valley. Cadgan takes my hand and helps me traverse the worst of it. I'm terrified, yet my heart pumps with excitement. God, this is like the little adventures we used to have. Now it's not so little anymore. We're adults after all, and it's the first time I catch a glimpse of the Cadgan from 9 years ago. The forest opens up to reveal the ruins I've heard so much about. They're not as imposing as I imagined them to be. Most aren't much bigger than a house back in the village. The ones that were have partially collapsed, rubble accumulating on top or inside them. They're almost entirely composed of stone. Now it's rough and crumbling, but that it's still standing at all is a paramount to its perseverance. Cadgan, who do you think lived here? The demons? Tales of demons erecting temples or even entire cities aren't unheard of. Those accounts always involve a pact with a mortal party, and things going wrong immediately after. I believe the demons built this place for a tribe contracted to them. We don't know for sure. Renai has passed hands between many kingdoms, and since these ruins are easy to reach, they've been looted just as many times. It's regrettable, but there isn't anything left that can tell us the truth. Regrettable indeed. The caravan went this way. Watch your step. Not only is the terrain from here on out more unstable, but there are also pits. I think I'll just stay right behind you. I'd still watch out. They move every once in a while, so I might get surprised by one that wasn't there before. I see. Maybe in a month or two I'll ask him what that means. I need to finish digesting the horrors I've already learned about before asking for another serving. I'm practically hugging him from behind as we descend. Past the ruins is a vast chasm, a scar splitting the mountains from which stone and root sprout. Ruins dwarfing those at the valley's threshold, overgrown with plant life of matching size. Pitch-black eyes on the mountain's walls overlook the treetops. Water flows from the neighboring summits, pooling in the valley's depths. The breeze carries the scent of dozens of springs. I breathe in the mixture, and it burns my nose so much I check my nostrils for bleeding. Then a glance at Cadgan, imposing like the mountain range behind him, before proceeding further down. Our surroundings turn into more of a jungle than a forest. The smell is so concentrated I'm concerned about my nose's sensitivity. A trail of footprints belonging both to wolf and beast tell us we are on the right track. We spot hints of white fabric beyond the dense plant life, and and soon find many tents arranged in a semicircle around a campfire that's been out for hours. 2 wolves stand on guard, their hands not leaving their blade sheaths for a second, and we catch sight of a third one walking behind the tents, off to the side of the caravan's beasts, idly munching on flowers. There's also a constant chirping around us, as though dozens of cicadas were hiding in the grass nearby, though I've never heard of cicadas living in a climate like Renai's. Are you alright, Hector? Yes, I'm overwhelmed is all. I mean, not because I'm scared, though I am, but, being here is an assault on the senses. You'll get used to it. We approach the explorers who greet Cadgan before asking who I am. After a few introductions, the peacekeeper asks questions about their activities today and yesterday. One wolf recounts the events of last night. It was at night, he says, when the choir around the camp reached its peak and they couldn't hear even their thoughts, right after they returned from the day's expedition. He points toward the fireplace. I picture him sitting in front of the lit fire in the dark. The iron pot propped above it holds a bubbling mixture of vegetables and meat. It's nothing fancy, and the smell is picked up from the ointment used to keep the sweet bugs away. It makes him turn his nose, but it'll be filling enough. There's fluttering behind him. Someone exiting a tent. It's one of the new lion recruits from the Duke's land. Wolf expects to be hounded about when the food would be ready, but the lion just stares off into the night. He mutters something, but the wolf doesn't catch it. What? The lion scans the dark, searching. One of his friends exits the tent and asks if he's feeling well. Realizing something's wrong, the wolf puts the fire iron down and silently gets to his feet. What should he do? Could it be Hazeleaf? If so, it'd be wise to get a tranquilizer while the lion is calm, because chances are he won't stay that way for long. Or would it be better to restrain him now? His friend might not understand. They're outsiders, ignorant of the extent of the valley's dangers. He could call the other wolves for help if they resist, but if Manol's men see a bunch of wolves ganging up on some lions, they might misunderstand. They think it's mutiny, and then it's only a spiral from there. The wolf realizes his only option is to get the tranquilizer. However, that moment of hesitation costs him and everyone else dearly. Just as he makes up his mind, the lion that had been staring into the night screams. He turns around and flees into the darkness behind the camp. The friend makes the mistake of going after him first. Another wolf sees us and follows him, yelling to stop. No, perhaps that is the right choice, since he will die if nobody drags him back. If the earth doesn't swallow him, the wildlife will. Most dangerous creatures lurk at night. However, in the dark and fighting to keep the lion down, and while waiting for somebody to bring a sedative, they fail to notice the trap they have fallen into, a hazeleaf patch that goes unnoticed. It's only when they return to the camp and all hell breaks loose that their mistake becomes apparent. The sound of Cadgan clearing his throat brings us back to the present. Where do you keep the sedatives? And about that lion you mentioned, who screamed, are his belongings still here? Where's his mask? After the wolves answer his questions, Cadgan tells them to return to their posts. A detail about the wolf's story is unnerving me, so I ask Cadgan about it once we are alone in the tent. Cadgan? Yes, Hector? He's searching for something among a pile of bags and crates behind the bedrolls, occasionally lifting a loose lid to check what's inside. His ears point my way, though, waiting for me to continue. Isn't Hazeleaf that plant you gather for the festival? Mm-hmm. The Talon's Hazeleaf is harmless if that's worrying you. As for the valleys, you saw those massive trees deeper in, right? They look like the ones in the forest, but gigantic. Yes, the valley does that to them. Similarly, the Hazeleaf here grows into something bigger and dangerous. Cadgan grabs a case that was hiding between 2 crates and opens it. A small gasp escapes me at the sight of a series of large syringes holding a pale yellow substance, each held inside a slot by a leather band. Alright, y'all, I'm actually going to pause it right there. Alright, y'all, I'm tired. I'm going to head off for the evening. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your night. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!